song did not start playing immediately is homophobic. Guys, clap for Melanie, she's so good, we love her! My name is Lynn. You can clap for me at the end. And this is actually also my last Queens of Comedy performance of stand-up on this stage, which means that this could be your last chance to see me perform stand-up for free. Not because I think I'm gonna like make it, but instead for the opposite reason. Like I'm pretty sure the market is so saturated that no one's really looking for like a young, white, sprightly lesbian. And you know, they're not looking for those girls anymore, but I feel like had I been born sometime else, had I been born in like the right decade, 1980, I think I really could have done it. Like, if I'd been born in 1980 on the dot, I think that I probably could have pulled it off as like the first girl in your high school to listen to Joan Jett. I think I probably would have gone to like an East Coast school, joined an all-male comedy group, the Kings of Comedy. And they wouldn't want to take me at first, but I'm just like too damn funny to give up. And then like I keep going, like I'm building my comedy, and then by my senior year, I'm living my life. I've got like a queer mentee under one hand, like my future in the other, and I'm ready to graduate in like 2002. Or 2003, because I'm the first in a line of many who will decide to take a gap year before going to college. I made that trend. So I graduated in 2003, I moved to New York City. Because in 2003, you could move to New York City as a young, white, sprightly lesbian and make it, you know? So I like moved to New York City. I'd have a really hard first couple of days with no job, nowhere to live, and then I'd be kind of like pondering giving it all up and walking down an avenue. And I'd run into like a watery-eyed 40-year-old with short hair who would introduce herself as Ellen DeGeneres. And she would say, "Hey kid, you look smart. Let me talk things over with you. I'm thinking about a talk show where I welcome on celebrity guests and I interview them. I dance. I've got everything planned out, but I can't think of a name." And I'd say, "Ellen, you dog, call it Lynn on me." And that would be my life, you know? But instead, I went to this comedy group. And when I got in, Tina Sieben, class of 2018, pulled me aside and said unto me, "Lynn, I'm so glad we took you. There are only 3 girls in this group now." Melanie Kane, class of 2019, shed one single tear behind her glasses. It was really like a good somber moment between the 3 of us women. And then Adam Wiener walked in and farted. And that was that. And now here I am. So I encourage you all to like take these moments with me of sweet, sweet Lynn juice. The kind of Lynn juice that makes my mom say, "Do you have to say the F word so much?" Speaking of my mom, her side of the family recently had like a big family reunion. Or like we had a funeral for my grandpa who died. And it was the first time that I had seen like all of these people since, probably since puberty. And so I came away this time with a few notes. The first one is, my cousin looks like a young John F. Kennedy. Am I allowed to say that I think my younger cousin is hot? I feel like because I'm gay, I'm allowed to just state it as like objective truth. Like, my younger cousin is hot, you know? That being said, my second note is, I think that my Aunt genuinely wants me to fuck that cousin. And like, this is not wishful thinking. Like, even if I had her blessing, like, I'm not trying to fuck my cousin. But she did these things that made me like, so like, for example, after the funeral, we went out to eat food. We were sitting at this big circular table, white tablecloth. What a pure color for such impure thought. And she says, look at the two of you together. Beautiful. We were sitting almost as far away as possible from each other. Later on, we like finished the regular part of the meal, the entree. And she's like, you two should get up and dance together, you two. There was no music playing. And then at the end of the night, we all go back to the same hotel that we're staying at. We're shuffling around like the swipe cards for hotels, figuring out who's going in what room. There's one room that has only one bed, and my aunt says, you two? And winks at me. You think, Aunt Christine, that I'm going to have sex at my grandfather's funeral? Actually, at that same funeral, it was very windy, which, as some of you may know, bad conditions for cremation. And so we decided to pitch in for like a little tiny piece of a mausoleum. For those of you who don't know, a mausoleum is kind of like an apartment complex for dead people. Not like their spirits or souls, like it's not like in Mulan. It's more like just like their dead corporeal bodies. And it's like an apartment complex because the landlord is never home. The walls are crumbling and it's $5,000 a month, but check out those amenities. I mean, they have a washer dryer in-house. I know because I do my laundry at the Northfield Mausoleum. But anyway, so we got in the mausoleum, and after the second funeral service, which I have to comment on, by the way, like, I don't really know how funeral services work, but we were, started out in a church, like, I saw my mom cry, we got communion, and then we were, like, packing up, and I was like, man, like, guess it's over, and then we drove to another place, and then we did the same thing again, but in a smaller building. The priest was still there. Unclear. But this time, instead of communion, these two men dressed like soldiers walked in, or like I guess they were soldiers. And they like folded up an American flag onto my grandfather's casket, and then they were like, okay, we will now take him to the mausoleum, and the graveyard people were like, come see us, load him in, they probably didn't use that language, come see us, like put him in the mausoleum. Kind of like when you drop your 18-year-old off at college and you like watch them go into their dorm. It elicits the same feelings. And so, folks, my grandma, very frail woman, and it's windy outside. And so we were all really worried. We're like, she's a little twig, she's gonna fly away. But at the same time, like, she has to see him go into his new apartment. Because they had been through so much together. You know, they were married for like, I don't know, like 100 years. They raised 5 kids together in New Jersey. They've been through so much together. Honestly, they've been through too much together. Like all said, she had to see this happen. And so we like work out a way, like how we're gonna get grandma to see her beloved. And then we decide like me and my mom are gonna go ahead, and then my 2 uncles are gonna stay back and help grandma. And so seems like a good plan. We're walking, and then my mom kind of like turns around to check on what's going on. and her face like turned the color red, and like rage became who she was. And she was like, "John, what are you doing?" And I turned around, my Uncle John was using his coat to protect my grandma from the wind. However, it was cold, so he kept his coat on while he was doing this. And he was facing my grandma with his coat open. You know, like how you do if you were flashing your mom. And like, I get it, like, bad move, Uncle John. Think about what you're doing. But also, Mom, why do you think your brother is looking at his 92-year-old mother on the day that her husband is being mausoleumed and think that now it's time to show her the goodies? Like, you haven't seen it since you changed my diapers. I think it's probably part of this larger thing where my mom, it's kind of like a family joke, hates old men. Like, I didn't realize that this was abnormal until recently, but like, we've always joked about like, Mom getting into fights with old men in the parking lot. And for the most part, it's like pretty unwarranted. Like the other day, my mom sent me a text that was like, standing in line behind a man, an old man at the pharmacy. He's lucky I can control my temper. Doing breathing exercises. Mom, what'd he do? It's the same thing with Bernie Sanders. Like, I'm not trying to vote for him either, but Mom, did you have to throw a vase at MSNBC for having him on? It's a TV, Mom. And so, you know, I've been thinking for a while about like a way that I can put my mom's like senseless violence against old men to use. And I thought of something. And so I'm gonna share it with you. So I'm graduating, I'm not gonna be here next fall, but when you're registering for classes, I highly encourage you to take SOAM 110. Lynn's mom tears apart Professor J. Levy in half. Yeah, it's gonna, I mean, full enrollment, right? And it's gonna be a 10-week course. The first 5 weeks are gonna be for the top half, the second 5 weeks for the bottom half. You can't actually late drop, but you can scrunch it. But I do want everyone to know it's only offered during the 2019 to 2020 school year because my mom will only be a visiting professor, and also because the subject of the course will be torn in half. Yeah, I mean, leave a good review for Mommy. You can't call her that, she's mine, Mom. You guys know those tweets, or maybe they say it in person, I don't know, of like heterosexual women who like love their boyfriend, and they're like, if my man is hungry, I don't care where I am. I'll leave law school to make him a grilled cheese, cause he's my man. I think that's a really good template for expressing love. So I got like a few that I'd like to try out with you. All right, here's the first one. If my man doesn't want to have sex, that's okay. I'm gonna turn on the TV and order a pizza because my man is gay, and so am I. We both have mistresses. We're only married for the tax benefits. That's one. Here's another one. If my man wants a treat, I'm gonna make him sit and stay. Then I'm gonna rub him behind his ears because my man is a dog. I have another one that kind of like opens it up to like a more like religious crowd. If my man dies, I'm gonna make sure he rises again on the third day because my man is not only the Father, but he's the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Folks, we've reached the end. This is the end of my time. So I have one thing to leave you with. It is a question, it is a statement, it is a philosophical thing. Why and what does it mean that 2 of my ex-lovers have, independently of each other, described me as a small furnace?